Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through how to write a personal statement for your CV. As a copywriter and a pal, most of my friends ask me to either look at their dating profiles, their LinkedIn profile, or their CV. So covering off a lot of bases, covering my own arse, making sure I don't have to do this shit anymore. I'm telling you right here, right now, how to ace your personal statement. You're probably thinking at this point, Cowley, look at you, as if you've ever successfully gone for a job. You look like some tattoo shop receptionist. Stop right there. One of my clients is one of the UK's biggest recruitment companies. I write a lot of content for them. I get into this stuff all the freaking time. So I'm pretty well versed when it comes to acing this sort of thing. Also, as a freelancer, I apply for a heck of a lot of jobs. I pitch myself. Along with my pitches, I write a cover letter or a personal statement. I do this stuff all friggin' day long. So if you're new to it, or you just need to brush up on your skills because you've been comfy in a job for quite some time and now you need to move on and you can't actually remember how to write a personal statement, got you covered. I'm going to take you all the way through it, how long it should be, what should be in it, and things that definitely should not be in it. Before we get started, I'd ask that you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like what you see and hear here today. Really helps me out. So, shall we get on into it? Firstly, what's the difference between a cover letter and a personal statement? Some people choose to go for one over the other, some people choose both. Most people don't actually know the difference between the two. So a cover letter is a letter that pitches you for the job before a recruiter has even looked at your CV. So it's kind of like a nice warm introduction. It's a device that relates your personal skills to the job description and is kind of an introduction to the CV, whereas a personal statement is part of your CV and is typically only a paragraph or 2 paragraphs long and is used to give a more personal feel and to take the recruiter through your career and your passions and what your future goals are. So they are very different things, although as I said, you can choose to opt for one over the other or use both. Today we're just talking about personal statements, so let's get in and figure out how to write this thing. So first thing I'm going to talk about is the length of your statement. As I just mentioned, you really don't want to go more than a paragraph or 2 in length, and when I say paragraph, I don't mean a Tolstoy-esque style block of shit that nobody's going to read. It looks horrible, it looks like a mission to get through, it's boring, it's dull, it's loads, it's too much. When I say paragraph, I mean maximum 3 or 4 lines, or if you're using 2 paragraphs, maybe try and keep it to 3 lines each. You really want this thing to look readable, to look friendly, to look just nice in the middle of the page. Sometimes before people even start reading copy, they're looking at the format, which is why as a copywriter, my main aim is usually to break copy down into bullet points, into subheaders, into short little paragraphs, into easy read sentences. I'm always opting to write it in a way that makes it easy for the reader to get through it, and you want to do the same thing with your personal statement. Don't write the Bible, right? Just keep it short, sweet, and really focused in. This is going to be an ultimate test of your editing skills. So 1 or 2 paragraphs long, no more than 3 or 4 lines per paragraph, please. You need to write your personal statement in first person, otherwise it's freaking creepy, okay? And by first person I mean I have worked in blah 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 blah. I am looking to do blah 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 blah. As a professional, my main passions include rah, 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 rah. Not Emma likes to work in human resources. Emma really wants... That's weird, man. That's really weird. First person, please. Always. Next up, I've mentioned this tip before in my cold pitch emails and also in my cover letter video, and that is to always tailor your personal statement to the job. What I would suggest in this instance is to keep your main bulk of the statement the same for everything, but what you do want to do is kind of switch out your skills and maybe pick out your past experiences and future goals to mould it to the job description at hand. Always try and write your statement in such a way that it fits for the job that you are applying for. All of the rest of it can kind of stay the same. Just pick and choose a few skills and a few historical pieces of experience that really bring out your aptness for the role. Your personal statement really should be more of a personal career journey exploration. So within it, you'll need to include why you got started down this particular career path, what you've been doing on the journey, and where you want to go in the future. Not only does this give the employer a little bit of a summary as to your background, I mean, sure, they're going to get that when they look down the page and see your employment history, but that's just a list of bullet points and tasks and historic jobs. It's not really a story, which is what your personal statement kind of should be. They're trying to figure out who you are as a person. Are you going to be the right cultural fit? Do you have the same goals and aspirations within your career as they have for the role and for the team and for the company? These are all going to be huge factors in whether or not you get the job. And don't think for a minute that this is going to really hurt your chances, because if you're not right for the future of the role based on what you've said in your personal statement, then this is a blessing in disguise that you don't get the job, because ultimately the role doesn't fit with what you want and you don't fit with what they want, and you'll only end up moving on again in the future. So try to be honest and just say, this is what I would like to do for the future, this is where I've been. Make it really personal. They're going to want to use that statement to get to know you and your career journey. I'm going to finish up with 2 super awesome tips for your personal statement. The first is going to be to go back through it and weed out any weak words. I say this about every single thing I give advice on writing, and that's because it trips me up time and time again, and it's probably going to trip you up. So when I say weak words, I mean words that sound hesitant or apologetic or slightly non-committal when you're writing them. The statement has to feel strong, it has to feel definitive, has to feel like you know where you're going and you've got it all planned out and you know exactly why you're right for the job and you know exactly why this is going to be a great fit. So avoid using words like just and maybe and anything that makes it sound like you're not quite sure. I've written a blog post on weak words and how to find them and how to change them, so I'll pop a link in the description box below for you so you can go away and look at that. It's amazing how many of these little suckers creep into copy, and it's going to devalue you massively. So go back through it and just make sure there are none of those. Finally, get someone to proofread that thing for you. Even as a writer, I need an editor and a proofer, even for my own stuff. When I hand it off to somebody, I like to think that they're going to look through it as well and catch anything that I've missed, because the more times I read a piece of copy, the more desensitized I become to any errors, because my brain autocorrects it for me. So I would suggest writing it, leaving it, possibly overnight or for a couple of days, come back, read it again, and immediately you'll be able to see where it doesn't flow, where any errors are, and where it just needs to be cut back or tweaked a little bit. Leave it again and then maybe get a friend to look over it for you as well, just to make sure there's no errors. I'll try and link some statistics below, but I'm pretty sure that the majority of CVs and cover letters and personal statements which go out to employers are riddled with errors. So many errors. Even as a writer, I make errors, so I know you're making errors, okay? So make sure you check that, because it can really count against you. And that brings us to the end of the video. I hope that you've learned something here today. I hope you go out and write a slamming personal statement, that you get hired, and you send me a lovely gift because you feel like I helped you on the way. If you've got any questions, you can drop a comment below, or you can find me on Twitter at @EJCamley, and I will happily confab with you. Until then, check back here, same time, same place next week for another video on writing and how to be absolutely badass at it. Take care.